This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to look at the Asus ePad Transformer Prime keyboard dock. This $149 accessory transforms your Prime into a kind of laptop of sorts, only running Android OS 4.0 ice cream sandwich. The Asus ePad Transformer Prime keyboard dock, like the Prime itself, is still pretty hard to find, but hopefully it'll start to appear in stores more often now. It sells for $149, just like the last ePad Transformer dock did, but this one is slimmer, lighter, and obviously comes in a finish that matches the tablet. It's available either in gray, or amethyst gray as they call it, or champagne gold, so depending on which color Prime you got, make sure if you're ordering with sight unseen that you get the right one. The champagne gold one ends with a .cg for champagne gold in the part number, and the gray one ends in .gr for gray. You get a full QWERTY keyboard here and a trackpad, and yes, you can disable the trackpad. There's a button right there to do that, which is handy because, believe me, this is a small area here and you're going to be wandering all over this trackpad. The trackpad doesn't have any kind of intelligent kind of palm rejection thing going on there. Got pretty much the same kind of channel that the original Prime sat in for the first design, but this time it's more sturdy. This is the release button right over here, and you slide it and you can pull your Prime out, and it's pretty sturdy and stiff in there. You can see I'm working it a bit. And what's a little bit better here is you can see there's two holes on the tablet, right? Now when you buy your tablet, there's little rubber plugs in here with a teeny little hole in the center of each plug. If you want to get those out, you have to use like a bent paper clip, stick it in a little hole, and yank those guys out. And they mate with this surface right inside here. If you can see, there's two prongs that stick out, and they go in those holes, and they help make it more secure. Now, Asus still says, you know, don't pick this up by the display section if you have the display open and upright, and I would agree with that. It doesn't lock in super duper tight, but it's a lot more stable. And this guy swivels here, and it's very stiff. I don't see it wearing out anytime soon. As you can see, it's really thin. This weighs 1.2 pounds. The tablet itself weighs 1.3, so together it's a 2.5 pound package. And yes, the tablet does weigh a little bit more, but no, I haven't had any problems with it feeling top heavy. It's been quite stable. The finish matches the Prime. It doesn't have the swirl finish, it's just a straight across kind of finish, but it's the same color. It looks pretty good. You got SD card, full-size SD card slot here. Comes with a little plastic blank in it. Here's your USB 2.0 port, full size with USB host. Yes, game controllers work, hard drives, all that good stuff, flash drives. And on this side we have the charging 30-pin connector. So you can use the same charger that came with your Prime to charge the battery that's in here, because this guy has a 22 watt per hour battery that complements the 25 watt per hour battery that's in your Prime. That doesn't mean you get almost double the runtime though. The way that this works is basically this charges your Prime. So it's kind of like the backup reserve charge battery here. So it extends about 6 hours according to Asus, and that seems about on target. Together they claim that you can get 18 hours. Well, they say that's if you have brightness set to only 60 nits, which nobody would be able to see, and running in power saving mode, but practically speaking you should be able to probably get 12, 14, maybe even 15 hours depending on your settings, which is pretty good. While we look at it, you have standard QWERTY here, arrow keys, page up, page down, that kind of thing, and then you've got a lot of quick control buttons. These are very handy: wireless on off, Bluetooth on-off, trackpad on-off, brightness buttons, auto brightness, web browser, go to settings, media playback, mute, volume, all that good kind of stuff right there. Pretty handy. And here we have dedicated buttons for home and search, your Android buttons. So you don't have to touch the screen a whole lot if you don't want to, and the menu key is right here. Now you don't have to turn off the Prime or anything like that to insert or remove from the dock, but if you're in the middle of playing a game or something like that where you're using the keyboard, I suggest you do exit the game first, or the game might crash. To put it in, there's a teeny little arrow here and a teeny little arrow on the tablet itself. Line them up, and it's pretty firm. Push down, you hear that little click, and this slid to the lock position, and it's going to go bing and tell you that the keyboard has been attached, and you get this little symbol right here that tells you the dock is connected. In terms of software, it's pretty much just plug and play. Go ahead and type. You get a pop-up message that says make sure you've selected the Asus keyboard. I never had to do that. In fact, I've got a couple of third-party keyboards installed here, and even Wiimote, all sorts of interesting inputs, and I haven't had to play with that. And if you go into settings, now we are running Ice Cream Sandwich on this Android OS 0.4, so if you see slightly different settings, because you're used to Honeycomb, that's why. You can see we have touchpad pointer style. You can go for a mouse cursor, which I'm using by default. You can set right-click behavior, middle button behavior, and the mobile dock battery saving mode. Guys who've had the first transformer know what that's about. You can either have it always be pulling some power from the dock and have the dock never fully go to sleep, so you can touch any key to wake up the tablet combo with the keyboard here, or if you check that and turn it off, your keyboard dock will not drain as much overnight. So that's the setting that I use. Regardless, if you have it closed and you open it up, the tablet will wake up, probably using the proximity sensor to know what's going on there. Now closed, it's absolutely a beautiful, elegant, and very small package, about the footprint of a netbook, a 10.6-inch netbook, but thinner than that, and really nice looking. The only thing that would tell you this isn't a notebook, though, is the camera sticking out the back here. Usually you wouldn't see that on a notebook, of course. And the only thing that kind of disrupts the lines is the fairly robust carrying assembly that holds the Prime itself. You can see it's very thin, good looking, easy to carry and stick anywhere. And thanks to the metal surfaces, it feels very rigid. Very nice looking. And then on the bottom here we've got the rubber feet, so that stops it from skidding around as well. Now we have the Toshiba Portage Z830 Ultrabook, a 13.3-inch Ultrabook, actually one of the lightest around. And to do a size comparison versus an Ultrabook, you can see how much smaller that is. So that's great for portability, but the one thing that will make a difference on is the size of the keyboard, and let's compare that. So here we go. I've got the Transformer Prime with keyboard dock on top of the Toshiba Portage Z830 Ultrabook, and you can see you get a smaller wrist rest area in terms of height, and just a very noticeable difference in the size of the keyboard. So this will be like typing on a netbook. Now, I have fairly large hands. I'm 6 feet tall, but I have long skinny fingers. I don't have wide fat hands, and I can type, but you know, it's not super duper easy. You will adjust to it. It's not your ideal size keyboard. That's one thing that's a drag. Key travel is pretty good on this, though. And in fact, for those of you who really typing is paramount and that's why you're interested, and here's an interesting comparison as well. This is the Motorola wireless Bluetooth keyboard that they make for their Zoom tablets and phones. Actually, I think they're discontinuing this model and adding one that has an integrated trackpad. Bummer, because I love this thing. But you can see how much bigger this is, too. This is a really great keyboard to type on, by the way. Super ergonomics and a good size. So you are making a size compromise here. If you have really big, beefy hands, that might be an issue. You might want to try it out first. Like I said, I've managed to adjust to it. I type pretty well. I've written reviews in Polaris Office on this, so MS Office compatible suite, and it works just fine. Now, for those of you who are thinking, well, this is just a $149 USB 2.0 port because you care less about the keyboard, Asus does make a little adapter that plugs into the 30-pin connector at the bottom of the tablet that adds a USB port. It's like $15 or $20 depending. But that's really, really hard to find. So for those of you who just want a USB port, could care less about having a keyboard, do look online to see if you can find that one. Sometimes Micro Center stocks them, in fact. But for those of you who do need a keyboard or need a notebook, netbook replacement, certainly very viable. Once you adjust to the smaller size keyboard, it's certainly a great portable package. The quality is good on it. It has nice rigidity. All sorts of key integration here to make it easier to not have to touch the screen quite so much if you don't want to. So I would highly recommend if you're looking for something that can replace a low-end notebook. That is something that can do web browsing, social networking, email, MS Office, that kind of stuff. It does it all fine. Obviously, it's not a Windows PC or Mac, so you're not going to be running the full version of Adobe Photoshop on here, AutoCAD, or any of those kind of things. But for all the mobile office applications that are available for Android now, you should be pretty well taken care of. And this is still certainly a unique package that Asus came up with. Though Lenovo looks to be copying this whole keyboard dock design with one of their upcoming tablets too. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that one. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. This is the Asus ePad Transformer Prime with the keyboard dock. Don't forget to watch our video review of the Prime and subscribe to our YouTube channel too.